welcome to Coding After Work stream. And before we get started, as per usual, we want to thank our friends and sponsors at Progress Telerik, because they have not only the best people ever working for them, oh, but it is true, we usually have them as guests.
Yeah, it is true.
They also have amazing Blazor UI components. I think over 80 last time we checked, so chances are, if you need anything, they will have it. And we will add a link to that.
Yeah. We're recording all our streams, so if you're watching this on YouTube, click the little bell and you will get notifications whenever we publish a new video. And if you're not looking at this on YouTube, head over to YouTube and click the little bell and subscribe to our
That would be
YouTube
great.
channel. Yeah,
That would help us, actually.
Love if you did that. Okay,
Yeah.
let's write some code. And you usually say something like, "No, we're not gonna write code."
No, well, we are not going to start with code, are we?
Nah.
We're
maybe
going
not.
to start with
Maybe
code-related software, or software services. Maybe is this a service?
I assume
DevOps?
so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's just pop in to an older sprint. Why am I not seeing it? There we go.
Because we are today starting Sprint 4.
We are. But let's talk about what we did last time.
Yes.
So we added the possibility for theme. So a little bit of theming, a little bit of dark and light theme.
Yeah. At least we got it started.
Yeah. And we added color schemes to our CSS.
Yeah, it turns out we had to tweak that.
And
So we did that.
And we will probably have to do it again.
Probably.
That might happen. And we showed some podcasts.
Yeah.
So I thought about what we're going to do today, and I realized that we need to refactor some things.
We do always need to do that. I refactor the color scheme. So what are we refactoring?
We are refactoring how we're getting, or actually the podcast bits are okay, but we name things a little bit wonky for where we want to take this.
Yeah.
I should say. So
Well,
let's
that's
see
what you
what
need
we
to do.
have in the backlog.
Show YouTube.
Show YouTube.
Yeah, I think we can do that. Can we do that in a similar way to how we showed our podcasts?
So I thought about that. I thought that it might be possible to use the podcast episode class, but then I I did a little bit of prepping. I checked out what kind of data YouTube has and stuff like that, and I realized that there was some things a little bit different. So I just hated doing it that way.
Yeah, we don't want to, well, what should we call it? Shoehorn stuff in.
Yeah, that's a good name for it. So I definitely want to show YouTube.
Yeah, that's
That
good.
would be awesome. So
And
let's
it's also good for us
do
because it looks like we've done stuff. It shows stuff on the web, so.
that's true. That's true. And I'm gonna. I actually thought about a couple of other things that we want to do. So let's add another item. We want to add tags. No, not af tags.
That's.
Add tags to our podcasts.
Yes, that's good.
So
Ooh.
I was.
YouTube has tags.
They do, but we can't get them through the RSS.
Oh, okay.
But
okay. I can live with that.
I think it's a good idea.
We can start here.
Yeah.
And
So
we can maybe do something about it later.
So the main idea that we're thinking for this site is that we don't want to use APIs. We don't want to go into to have the call to have API access, the secret keys and handshakes and whatnot.
As simple as possible.
As simple as possible using RSS. Now,
Yeah.
that might change.
You never know.
You never know. But for now, let's add some tags, and I will show you where those are coming from.
Ooh, and we can do fun stuff with that as well later in the future.
Yeah. We want to add a menu. And now I'm talking pure laziness here. I don't want to have to type out episodes every time I want to go into the episodes or videos
just
or
the
whatever.
bare minimum.
Bare minimum, it's going to look horrible.
That's fine.
Let's
We can
add a
work on
menu.
that in the next episode or so.
And we want to add style to the menu. And we're not going to do that today.
No.
So the reason why I wanted to have those tags is because they're awesome for SEO. So we need to add SEO. That's what I'm thinking. Add SEO.
That's legit. It's also awesome if you just want to see whatever. Okay, I like Blazor. I only want to listen to Blazor episodes.
Yeah.
But now I'm making things more complicated. But that's for a future episode, I think, or a future sprint.
Yeah. But absolutely. Well, we can add that filter on tags.
Yeah.
Let's add that.
I would really love that.
So this is a kind of horrible feature here because when you add something, the default is add to top.
Yeah.
But
and it got
you can change this. Add to bottom. There we go. So it actually stays on the bottom.
Yeah, that. Ooh.
So the most important thing is add a menu and add tags. And I think that is...
Yeah, we're also talking about a component. So we might not actually have time to.
Apparently it decided to, hey, all of these things should be in the sprint.
Oh, really?
Let's see here. We're not going to add a style. We're not going to add SEO.
Not today.
We are showing we're going to add tags. Yeah, so let's see if we just can move these. Move to iteration backlog. There we go.
There we go.
And usually we get to do 3 things. That's as far as we normally go. And last time we were a little bit pressed on time, so I didn't have time to show you the component that I'm working on for Blossom, which is the component library that we're building. So the component is a component that we can use to show, in this case, MP3 files. So this is the HTML5 audio tag. And I needed to add a little bit of extra functionality to that one.
Yeah.
So we can take a look at that. It's not done, far from done.
No, but then we can see where we can take it.
Yeah.
And also, it's an interesting component, I say.
It was way more difficult than I anticipated, to be honest. Way more moving parts. Okay, so let's pop into Visual Studio. And we're not going to start with the component, I think. Let's start with YouTube.
Yeah, because again, it looks like we've done so much stuff, so much progress on the webpage.
I'm going to switch screens on our monitors here as well. There we go. Okay, sweet. So, in the backlog item, so backlog item should always include what we're going to do. I mean, show YouTube. What the heck is that?
Yeah, exactly.
I have no idea. We have a couple of others.
And we can break it down and have details and
Yeah. But I mean,
even use the stories if you want to.
Yeah. So if we take a look at the ones we have, we got one, show Discord, because we have a Discord channel.
Yeah.
This is basically only a link that's going to take you, give you an invite to our Discord.
Yeah.
So, okay, show Discord. Is that the same as show YouTube? No, definitely not. We also have show Twitch. That's the same thing. Probably a link. Maybe we're gonna.
Well, it's not the same thing. It's the same thing. Being, it's not the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. That got complicated.
And show meetup. Might be the same thing. Might show the different meetups we have in the future, or we're just gonna link to meetup. I don't know. We haven't
have to break them
decided at
down.
that point. At this point. So let's
At that
pop.
point, I hope we have decided.
Hopefully. So let's pop into Show YouTube and use this RSS link.
You already prepared for that.
I have prepared for this.
That is awesome.
So let's go into.
So this is our YouTube feed. So all the videos.
Not all. I believe it's, well, it might be all.
Depending
but
on how
I
many
think
you
it's
have.
like 25 or 50 videos.
Okay. So the latest.
Only the latest and greatest.
Yeah.
But we have a lot of information here. I mean, we have the
Is it
title.
possible to enlarge that, or is
I
that?
can try.
Oh
yes.
yeah, much better.
So we got a title. We got a little bit of content, which is the shockwave flash.
Oh wow.
That's a blast from the past.
Whew, haven't heard that in a while.
We got a thumbnail. We have a description. And a little bit of what people think. Apparently, there are 10 people thinking this episode is awesome.
That's good.
Yeah.
It's a little bit interesting that they say star rating, but to my knowledge, there's no way you can star rate a video. There's thumbs up or thumbs down.
Interesting.
Well, I don't know about that feature, but
Yeah,
I don't know.
I think you might be right.
as a consumer, that is.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing that it actually means you have 5 upvotes or thumbs up. I don't know.
I don't know.
We'll have to figure that out.
Okay, so here's the
Oh, they probably just reused the same naming, but they changed the feature at some point. Or vice versa.
might be. So what we want to do, we want to add a class. Let's pop into services here. So this is what I'm talking about. We got a podcast episode.
Yeah.
So we could reuse this and shoehorn in YouTube.
Yeah.
But that's not
But
what
we
we're gonna
don't
do.
get the same information, and it's...
We're actually getting a lot of the same information. We could expand, but the information that we need are basically this.
Yeah.
We don't need to show ratings, for
No.
example. We could, but we don't need to.
But is it the ID that differs? Because we get a GUID on the podcast, but we don't at YouTube.
Yeah, so if we take a look at YouTube, we have a ID that looks like that or like that, depending on whatever you...
So it's a string, basically.
It's a string, yeah. So what we want to do, we want to create a new class. And we want just an ordinary class. And we're going to call this YouTube. No, we want the capital T. Video. There we go. Now I'm going to be a little bit lazy, so I'm just going to take the one we had for the podcast episode.
Well, I think that
in.
that's not lazy, it's just effective.
I want to make this public as well. And as you said, the ID is not a GUID, it's a string. So let's bring in a string instead. So if we just want to have basically the same functionality, this is what we need to get that done. And we also have a podcast service. So there are different routes we can go. We can create a YouTube service and have both of those taking up memory. Or we can just create one that has both of them.
Yeah.
And that's the route I'm thinking.
Is that what's called a factory?
It is not... No.
No? Okay. That's the easy answer.
Yeah. So this is we're keeping this in memory as a singleton.
Okay.
So a singleton is going to be the same for all our users. And we're basically listing podcasts, we're listing YouTube videos, we're getting them from our RSS feed, we're keeping that in memory. If the site restarts, it's going to go out, get those things
Yep.
again, and we're going to be all good.
Yeah.
So I'm going to rename the podcast service to something different. I'm going to call it content. Super arbitrary.
Well, it
or
is
not
a content
descriptive.
service. Well,
please.
it is a little because.
So it contains content. Okay, I get it.
Well, it makes sense.
So we're going to change that to a content service. So if I build this, things should break. Maybe Visual Studio actually took care of it, but let's see.
How often do you say that? It should break. And it didn't.
It didn't. So let's pop into... So Visual Studio helped me this time.
So which version of Visual Studio are you on?
2022.
There you go.
Always.
Always.
Well, these days, always.
Not on my computer.
So let's pop into our startup and we're just going to take a look at... Yeah, so it helped us. When I renamed it, Visual Studio helped us. This works about...
I think there was a pop-up about it.
Yeah.
But
it
you
was.
don't read pop-ups.
I did read it. I did understand what it was supposed to do.
Oh, okay. But sometimes...
Sometimes
Okay.
it's
Got it.
not that helpful.
Sometimes it's just pulling your leg.
Yep. So it actually helped us with everything. We will pop into our... let's see where we have that one. We got episode where we're getting a well, it's still called podcast service, but that's fine, I think, for this one.
Content service, podcast service. Okay.
Because we're only using it for podcasts in this case. We don't have to rename everything.
For now.
For now. I'm probably gonna
You
gonna
were
do
probably
that
going
later
to do
on.
that later on when you wake up in the middle of the night. A
Podcast
week from now.
service.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Can't have it named like that.
Rename. Okay, so now we want a page that is going to list these. Actually, we need to get them first. So let's start with that.
Could be handy before we list them.
Yep. So I've heard. Okay, so we have a list of episodes. So let's copy that one. And I probably ended up having to write more right now, but let's...
Oh, yeah, because you would have gotten help
YouTube
if you just started to make the list.
video. Is that right? Did I name it that way?
Yeah.
Why isn't it? Okay. And we're gonna call it... let's call it videos. Like that. So why isn't it popping up? Let's see here. What? So we got services there. We got components. Okay. So the default namespace of Coding After Work is codingafterwork.components. But we went in and we rebuilt a couple of things. And I have the components up here.
Oh, so it's in the wrong...
It's not wrong per se.
It couldn't find it because it's in a different
namespace.
Yeah.
So I'm actually going to... I think I'm going to... Okay, we're gonna redo this at some point, anyways. But yeah, I can go either way here.
So what are the options?
So the options are either the namespacing could be codingafterwork.components.services.
Mm-hmm.
But in my eyes, services isn't components, so it feels a little bit wonky to actually have that namespace. So I'd rather have codingafterwork.services and have the components live in the namespace called components.
Yeah.
But the project is called components. So yeah.
So we messed up in the beginning because we thought we were going another route.
It would probably be a better naming to call it codingafterwork.shared or something like that. But
now we're stuck for now.
For now.
With this.
Let's keep it this way for now.
Well, that's how you do things. You need to reiterate, and honestly, we don't even know how much of this we will end up rewriting because maybe we see that it doesn't work like that, or we're not happy about it in a later state. So it's fine.
It's fine. It's fine.
Done is better than perfect.
You know that dog that is everything is burning around
Oh,
him,
yeah.
and it's fine.
Yep.
That's how I feel right now. It's fine.
Dumpster fire.
Okay, so we need a URL as well. So I'm gonna rename this one. I'm going to call it podcast feed URL. Now things should break because it didn't pop up and say, hey, I got some things for you. There we go. Actually, we're using it 2 times. Okay, we're going to rewrite this as well. Don't worry. We're going to get to that. And we're going to copy this one. And we're going to name it.
YouTube feed URL.
Yeah, why not? That's a good name. YouTube feed URL. I'm going to get the URL. And I actually think I still have it in my...
Your clipboard?
In my clipboard. Do I? No? There it is. So
That is an awesome feature that you can extend how much copy paste you have saved. I always forget about that though.
I can't live without it.
Yeah. Well, you usually tell me when I'm like, oh.
It was actually built into Visual Studio for a while. I'm assuming it's still there. Show clipboard history. So it's built into only Visual Studio.
Good. That's good.
I had an app for that in the beginning of computers. So the link here is, it's YouTube, it's videos, and then it's the channel ID. So this is our channel ID. And the kind of funny thing is that we have this what is it called? Nice looking name.
Oh yeah. The pretty URL.
Yeah.
That you only can get after you get 100 subscribers.
Yeah.
So basically / coding after work.
Exactly. But that wouldn't work here. So that is just the URL.
Yeah.
The user or the channel ID is still the wonky one.
Yeah.
So we need to add
Well,
that.
it's not wonky. It's just impossible to remember.
So wonky. Okay. And last time, I talked about the HTTP client. This one. So the taste you have in your mouth right now is barf. It's horrible.
So
this is not how you do it.
Why don't we like that one?
Because we have a dependency for the HTTP client. We don't know. It's going to be created here. We don't have any dependency injection. We don't have any control on how many of these are created. Now this component is a singleton, so fair enough. It's just going to be created once, but this is not how you do it.
Okay, so how do you want to do it?
I want to create a little piece of dependency injection. So in the class, I want to inject something called an HTTP client factory.
Now I get my factory.
Oh, what's happened now? Let's do that again. So HTTP client factory.
There we go.
And look at that. This is
it's helping.
Visual Studio is saying, hey, you probably want to name it HTTP factory. Don't mind it. Oh, God.
You were supposed to press twice.
Yeah, but...
It said tab. Now you don't get the help.
Factory. Let's try that again. Come on.
It doesn't want to help you anymore. I think you need to
It's still helping me a little bit because it says, well, it probably won't want to call it HTTP factory.
Now you get the help.
but I don't know what that is. So let's control dot. Let's take a look. It wants me to install stuff. Really? Do I need to do that? I don't think I need to. HTTP client factory. This should be built in. Oh. Fair enough. Let's add that then. Find and install the latest version. Yes, do that. I thought it was actually included in .NET 5, but apparently not.
Now it is.
Now it is. So now we have a HTTP factory. There are some conventions that I haven't figured out what is right or wrong here. So some people are naming these with underscore.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Showing that this is a private variable or a field in this case. I believe that the Visual Studio or the .NET team is saying that you should use that underscore, but I don't like it.
You're not there yet.
I'm not there yet. I was there, and then I believe, at least that is how I remember things, Microsoft said, we're not doing that anymore.
Okay, so now they've
So
brought it
I
back.
switch over, and then they say, hey, we probably want to do that again.
So it's only the naming convention here.
Just naming convention.
Okay. So do whatever you are comfortable with.
Yeah. And I will show you where this becomes a problem or where things get a little bit ugly.
My gosh, you get a lot of help. Well,
there we go. So
how did you do that?
So I wrote CTOR.
Yeah.
CTOR, like that. So that's the code snippet that's going to give us a constructor.
Yeah.
For this class.
And then you press tab.
Yes, I think so.
It's all in your fingers, isn't it?
That sounds like something I would do.
Well, I just took for granted because everything else was tab.
So in the constructor, I'm adding the HTTP client factory. So when this class is created as a singleton, it's going to say, "Hey, I need an HTTP client factory." That's hard to say.
Yeah, it's a long word.
And the dependency injection is going to check, "Hey, yes, I do have one of those. Here you go." So here's where things get a little bit wonky. So I need to say that this variable is going to get its value from there. These two are named the exact same thing.
Yeah. So why don't you like the naming convention with underscore?
So this is not going to work.
No.
What I can do is do this. This. I can add this. First time ever I can say I can add this.
And be correct. And it's actually clear.
I know, right?
Okay, so either you name it underscore HTTP client factory, or you have to use this dot
Yes.
in front of it to...
And I mean...
Okay. The interesting thing is, I would have thought that using underscore is easier because now you need to use a workaround, sort of.
Yeah.
But both are correct and both do the same thing.
But... so... I only have to use this workaround here.
Yeah, but it's still a workaround.
If I'm using underscore, I need to use that workaround in
That's
every
not a workaround.
time I'm
It's
using
a
the variable.
It's
But-
the same as using lower and lower cases in the beginning and upper cases and stuff like that.
So one of the reasons...
I mean, it's not important, but it's still an interesting discussion, I think.
Absolutely. And I haven't found anyone that
Well, you can still use both, so there's not really a right or wrong,
definitely not.
but it's interesting.
And the main things here when we're talking about naming. So when I grew up, as an old .NET developer,
Was it even .NET back then?
it wasn't.
Oops.
when I coded in BASIC. No, so the thing is, for example, like methods.
Yeah.
So method convention, at least, was that a private method should be with a lowercase
Start with a lowercase.
first. Yeah, start with a lowercase. And that makes sense to me, I think. Same thing here. I'm using a lowercase here.
Yeah.
But things have changed, apparently, or I didn't pay attention back then. I don't know. So now they're saying, no, every method, regardless of how you can access it, if it's public or it's private, protected, whatever, all of those is going to be with a capital first letter.
Okay.
Because the
Hence
name...
the underscore to sort them out.
No, we're not on underscores.
Okay.
Just
Not
yet.
Not yet.
Not yet. So it's only methods. So the methods, all the methods is going to be with a capital first letter.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's good. Because the naming of the method should not be affected by the way we access it. Mm-hmm. And that kind of, why should the way we can access it, why should the naming be different? Mm-hmm. Okay, so we take a step back and we think about APIs. So let's say that I have a private variable, I want to make it public. Mm-hmm. Everything is going to break that it's calling the private variable or the method because I just changed the naming because I made it public.
Yeah.
So all of that, that speaks to me.
Yeah. Yeah, well, it sounds reasonable.
I know.
It does.
And now we're saying that this only is, we're only going to talk about this when we're talking about methods. When we're talking about a private variable, then we're going to use the underscore.
Yeah.
And that rubs me the wrong way.
And that's okay. So you have to use this .http client factory to solve that.
Exactly.
But again, use what you are used to or comfortable with.
I wouldn't say it's not wrong. It's not wrong to use underscores.
It's not wrong to use...
It's probably wrong to not use underscores because it's in the .NET.
Well, if it is in the documentation, this works as well.
This works as well, yes.
There, I solved it.
So, yeah, let's not go in deeper into that.
That was a tangent.
Okay, so we got episodes, we got videos. Maybe we want to name it podcast episodes or maybe YouTube videos, but let's just keep it this way for now. Or should I change it?
No, I don't see...
But it name... Okay.
No, you have worse naming issues here than that.
Okay, so
That's
let's see
further
if
down
I
the
can... So we have we're using this syntax. I don't remember which version of Visual Studio this came with, but what I'm saying is that, or .NET C#, I should say. So I'm saying that I want to be using the client, the variable client, but as soon as this method is done, I want you to dispose of it. Mm-hmm. So previously you would write using parentheses and I was about to say moose wings.
Curly braces.
Curly braces. But they kind of look like mooses.
Yeah. But it's not wings. It's horns, rather. Or what are they called? Are they called horns? Or are they called something else?
Okay, so we're saying...
I need to go investigate.
We're using the client and we're newing up HTTP client, and this is what we're not supposed to do. So let's remove this one and go into our factory and let our factory create a client. So it's going to make sure that it's going to create a client in the best possible way. It's going to create a client dependent, or it's going to check the dependency injection and see...
Antlers,
okay. Okay.
Couldn't let it go. Sorry, back to the factory.
This looked like a moose, right?
It could be antlers.
So funny thing is that this kind of looks like a bird. So in Swedish, this is måsvinge, so bird wing, I guess.
Yeah, actually, it's a certain kind of
Yeah, but I
bird, but
didn't figure out the English word for. You're checking, right?
I am. But I probably shouldn't search in Swedish. Let's go to translate. Seagull.
Yeah, but
Seagull wings.
we're only using
Gull wings.
Gull wings. Yeah,
Is that even a thing?
I don't know.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, that's perfect.
So
Gull wings.
gull wings. This is going great. Can we talk about the factory again?
Yes,
Sorry
let's do
about
that. So we're creating a client. We're using the factory. We are creating that client right there. We don't need to pass in a base
I'm sorry,
address.
but Stacy said something awesome. Moose wings or gull wings, as in DeLorean. They have those kind of wings. The doors.
Ah, okay. I get it.
Yeah, you see why they are so awesome?
Yeah. And the, what is it? Tesla X.
X, yes. But they call it, I think they call it like, what's the predator bird? Not that bird.
Turn around.
Wrong predator. Not a hawk. The other thing. Oh my gosh.
Eagle?
Yes. Eagle wings, I think they call it. Okay, I'm going to sit on my hands and be quiet when you talk about the factory
it's fine,
again.
It's fine.
So the factory does stuff for us.
Yeah, so we fixed the factory. The factory is going to go out, ask dependency injection, how do you want to create an HTTP client?
Yeah.
So we also need to pop into the...
And we do that because we have more control over the factory than we had the HTTP client itself.
Yes, and it gives us more control over the HTTP factory.
Yeah.
So because what you also can do, which we're not going to do, we can add a name here. If we can show that. It is showing something else. There we go. Oh, it's popping up something else. Okay, you just have
Sometimes
to believe me.
Visual Studio helps you, sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah, so you can provide a name, so you can create different kinds of HTTP clients. That's a hard word as well.
It is.
So in the dependency injection, I think I'm not even on caffeine.
Maybe that's the issue. Think about the gull wings.
So in the dependency injection, we can say that we want to create a HTTP client with a specific name. For example, if we are calling an API, we want to add a couple of authentication, for example. We can do that in the configuration, and every time I ask for that client, all of that is already configured.
Okay.
But we don't
so we
need
can
to
bake that in, basically.
Yeah.
That's good.
So we can pop into, let's see, our startup, and we're just going to say services dot, oh, it's helping me, add HTTP client.
There we go.
It's helping me completely wrong right now, but that's fine. And that's the only thing we need to do. We just need to say add HTTP client.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let's build this.
Why do we still have the service that gets the weather forecast service thingy? Because you haven't refactored that part?
Is your mic off again? Hello?
Am I flying into a tunnel?
We haven't cleared that out.
Okay. Well, we need to clean up every now and then, so that's fine.
Okay, so let's just try and run this project and see what happens. Oh, there we are. That's awesome. Let's go into episodes.
And that is centered.
And everything works, still works.
Yeah, it looks horrible, but it works.
It looks horrible, but that's...
We haven't worked on that, so that's fine. We do have a question, though.
Okay.
Well, sort of. Am I right in thinking that you can't use the HTTP client factory in WASM? Did you freeze? I think you froze. Are you running into a tunnel?
I have no idea. I don't have that answer. Why shouldn't you be able to use it in WASM?
That's an interesting spin on things.
I mean, it's you're still using HTTP clients in WASM. I'm not sure.
Interesting. We need to look into that, I think.
Okay, so let's bring in a little bit of...
Okay, Stacey thought she read it somewhere, so we don't know. We need to look into that.
You are probably
Thank you for
right.
that question.
I am not going to question you this time.
You have learned your lesson.
I have learned my lesson.
Stacey is usually right.
So let's think about this. So we got a bit of things left to do. So I think I'm going to just actually cheated just a little bit with the content service. So I'm going to open this one up. Did I just open 2019?
I don't know.
Oh my god. I need to burn this computer.
No.
Burn it!
I used 2019.
With fire. So I'm gonna pop
We do have another
into...
question. What language?
That we're coding in?
Yep.
We're coding in C#.
We are coding in C# and using Blazor.
Yes. So
We are rewriting our webpage from scratch because we are currently using Bootstrap, which I am not happy about, but I'm okay with.
and we don't do that anymore.
Oh, we have removed that?
You did that. There's no
Yeah,
Bootstrap
but it's
here.
not live yet.
There's no Bootstrap here.
No. I think it's... we could remove about 22,000 lines of code, and that... Speaking about rubbing me the wrong way, that rubbed me the wrong way. Oh, that's cool. You're studying C# on your own. Awesome. Welcome to the world of awesomeness.
World of awesomeness.
Well, it is.
Okay.
C# you can do anything.
That's true.
Literally anything.
Am I mixing things now?
Are you?
Look at that. I have an underscore here.
Uh-oh. Don't do that.
Okay.
Okay, so where are we?
I'm not gonna focus on that. Not gonna focus on that.
No, it's okay. We need to refactor stuff
Not gonna
later.
focus on that.
We can refactor stuff later. Clean things up, we can do. As long as we get the page up so I can get rid of the Bootstrap.
So, what I did, I tried out YouTube last night to fix this method, and I don't think you want to see me type all of this code.
I do not, because you are the worst typer. Oh, did I say that out loud? Well, you're not the best typer. I'm not either.
That's what?
We already said... Remember when last episode when I used your computer?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's my computer, right?
Yeah.
So what we're doing here is, this is the exact same code as with the podcast. We're using the YouTube feed URL instead. We're using the HTTP factory. We're parsing the feed. We're getting the root element. We are looking for a tag called entry. So let's take a look at this one. So we're looking for the
Can we
entry.
enlarge that? Thank you.
We're looking for the entry. This could probably get a little bit better as well. And we're getting, for each feed item, for each entry, we're looking for an entry called ID, title, for example.
That could be
this
good
case.
for a YouTube video.
So we got an ID. We're using this one.
Yep.
And we're using the title right there. And we're also for group here. We're looking for groups. Let's pop in here. Let's see the group.
What is a group?
So it's grouping some arbitrary things together.
Really?
I have no idea why it's called group.
Okay.
And the media here, I believe that's
So this is just what we get from the YouTube feed, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And the media comes from the namespace that we can find up here. So it says that the what is it called? The specifications for the XML feed can be found here. I don't think it's actually there, but that's the way XML works. So they're saying like the media doesn't matter because we're looking for the local name, and the local name is going to be group.
Yeah.
And in there, we're looking for the description, and we're looking for the thumbnail, and all of that goodness.
Yeah.
So. And we're putting everything in a list called videos, and we're returning that list. So it works just the same as with podcasts. Just a little bit of naming. Okay, so...
And with an ID instead. String instead of a GUID.
So let's list them.
Yes.
And let's just copy the episodes.
This is the... Oh, okay. So you're copying the episodes page we did last time.
Yes. I'm gonna call it videos.
Sounds reasonable.
Videos.
No, you should call them YouTube videos because we might have videos from other places.
All right. Fair enough.
Just in case, just to make sure.
YouTube videos.
Yeah.
There we go.
Thank you.
So what is the URL for our videos?
I don't know.
Our
YouTube?
YouTube videos. YouTube? Okay.
Does that sound reasonable?
Fair enough. Fair enough.
So that is our webpage, so codingafterwork.se, and if we type /YouTube, we're
going to get to that
get to that page. Yes. Awesome.
We are not going to call this podcast service, obviously. We're going to name it content service.
Because we used that before.
Yeah, we're probably going to go back and rename the other one as well.
Yeah.
We're not going to call it episodes, so let's go down here. We need a list of all the episodes, right? Or all the videos.
YouTube videos, yeah.
So we're going to have YouTube video. And we're going to call it, this one we can call videos.
Yes.
Because
agreed.
It's a variable inside of everything.
Yeah, agreed.
And we're going to rename the podcast service to content service, and we're going to copy the video over there. So we're getting the YouTube videos and we're putting it in a variable called videos. So one of the things that you might notice when I'm writing code is that I copied that video and put it down here.
Yeah.
I'm using Control-C and V way too many times. So I'm kind of getting a little bit stressed when I see people like, yeah, I'm going to type out everything, but it's the road up there.
I think it depends.
This one is the same here.
But I think it's actually depending on if you know your weaknesses, like your weakness is typing.
And also the lecture.
And also the lecture, yes. That is definitely your weakness. But if it would actually take you forever to write a 3-letter word, and it would be so much faster for you to just copy it. But other people, they have it in their fingers like you do with copy-paste. So either way, it's okay. You are allowed to copy.
Okay, thank you. So instead of getting episodes, we're getting YouTube videos. That makes sense.
Sounds reasonable. On a YouTube page, we want to show YouTube videos.
And we want to list videos instead of episodes. So
and that's our list we have.
Now everyone is going to be focused on my typing.
Yes, you're welcome.
And the variable that we're going to go through is called EP. That could be extended. Okay, we're going to rename it.
Yeah, we need to rename that.
Let's
because
rename
it was
it
called
video.
EP because we...
It was an episode.
Episodes. Yeah, that makes no sense for videos. Thank
I
you
could
for
have
changing
chosen
that.
something completely different that doesn't
Well,
make
you-
any sense
yeah,
at
you
all. But
could sometimes just arbitrary letters you can use here. I see people just putting an X or whatever. That's fine too. But for easier reading, I prefer when it's something that you can relate to.
so what we're doing here is we're checking if the videos is null. We're going to show, hey, loading videos.
Yeah, and we are checking that it's null, not do we have 0 videos?
Yes.
Because that's the difference. If we have 0 video, we could have on our list. We haven't posted. We're on vacation. We haven't posted any videos. We will get 0 videos, but it's not anything wrong because it is correct. We have 0 videos, but if it's null, something isn't done yet.
Yeah. So with the Blossom components that we're building, I have 2 templates for the grid, for example. I have one where I think I'm calling it loading. So when the data is null, that's when we're loading.
Yeah.
If the data is 0, so we don't have any data, but it's not null, that's the empty template.
Yeah.
So it's going to say that, okay, we don't have any, whatever it is,
Yeah.
videos in this case.
Yeah, but I think I would probably do the mistake of asking if it's 0 here. If we didn't have this discussion, because I think it's an easy mistake to do, because 0 sounds like we don't have anything yet. So I think it's good to point out.
Okay, so the CSS is episodes. Let's keep
We
it
can
that
use
way.
the same layout for that. We
Yeah.
need to fix the CSS naming, I see.
Or maybe not. Let's see where this is going.
Yeah.
Okay. So we are loading the videos. We're going to save this. We are going to do a brief jump in the things that we're doing, because we're going to go into our index page, which is the first thing that we're going to show. I'm going to add in a href.
Are we doing the ugly
Yes.
menu? Okay.
A really
So
ugly
what we're
menu.
doing here is just adding a bare minimum, not styled, ugly but functional menu so we can switch between the different pages while we're still developing the page, because the page isn't published. And you have extra and
Again?
yeah, on both of them. I think it's because YouTube, no, not YouTube, Visual Studio is helping you and you're not used to that kind of help.
When I was a developer, I
Yeah.
didn't have help.
Back in 1845.
Hey,
No? 1855?
that's the wrong way. There we go. Okay, so we have YouTube and we have podcasts.
Yes, they're
That's
just
the
plain
only
old-
thing we got right now.
Unstyled, quick links.
And for those who are wondering, no, this is not the way you should do it. Never
But it's
use
just
VR
temporary.
and stuff like that. No,
It's just temporary.
just temporary. Okay, so let's run it. Let's see what we got. Look at that.
Whew, that was not okay. Well, it's I'm going to be calm.
The menu.
It's ugly. But I wasn't prepared with how ugly.
Okay, so we click YouTube and we got
We
YouTube.
have a list. Awesome, and it got the same styling as the episode. So we have a question. What is your site going to be about? So we are a code-heavy user group in the beginning, and we branched out and also have a podcast. And we started live streaming. So we are recording all the live streams and sometimes from conferences. Back in the day when you can actually travel and there wasn't a pandemic going on. So we have a YouTube channel called Coding After Work. We have a podcast with the same name, Twitch, and whatever, TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, what have you. So we want to redo our page because we do have a page today, but it's mainly for the podcasts, and it's really not that pretty.
Yep.
So we need to fix that. And
So this is basically, at least at the moment, what we're focusing on. So what we want to do, we want to show the YouTube, we want to show podcasts, we want to show our Discord. So we have a Discord that might be a great place for you to be if you want to. So it's not super active at this point, but it's a great place. We want it to become a great place where you can ask questions.
Yeah, because since we started as a code-heavy user group, I think it's 9 years ago or so. 10 years ago?
Possibly.
9 years ago, because I think it was 2011 or 12 or so. Doesn't matter. Really not important. But we didn't have any lectures or talks. We just went there so everybody could code, and there was everything from the absolute beginner, not written a single line of code, to professional developers, game developers, HoloLens developers, VR, everything. So there was always someone you could ask, okay, so I'm working with JavaScript and I'm having this issue. Is there anybody who knows how to do that? And you could get hands-on help. And that was really, really good for everybody. But pandemic. So we started the Discord to kind of catch that. So we are watching it. So if there was a question, we would definitely jump in there.
So that's kind of what we want the site to be. We want to be able to show all the connections that Coding After Work has with YouTube, Twitch, Discord, TikTok. We actually have a TikTok. Please follow us there. And
we don't post as much on TikTok.
No, that's
yet,
true.
though.
That's true.
So we shouldn't.
But we might.
Oh, awesome! You joined. Thank you. That's great.
So let's. What is the next step? Yeah. So the next step would be
So we're using Azure DevOps to keep track of our to-do items, basically.
Yeah.
Or work items that they are called as well.
So if I click planning and designing.
Oh, that's our last episode. Uh-oh.
Yeah. Everything is broken. Everything is broken.
That's not how that song goes.
So this is actually a learning opportunity.
Oh, yeah?
So check this out. So we got episode, and then we have UT and video and all of that. So this is a string, right?
Yeah. Hey!
So let's pop back into Visual Studio. We're going to go to our episode. So here I'm saying that it's only going to hit that URL. It's only going to find that route if the ID is a GUID.
Yeah, and it isn't. It's a string.
It's not a GUID. So it's not even going to find that.
No.
I don't know what to do with this.
Of course. So that's why we couldn't see the URL or get the URL.
And this is also protecting the. I mean, I could have skipped the GUID here and just written string, and it converted to a GUID, and everything would blow up because it's not a GUID. Yeah. But don't have to do that. It's not going to hit that URL or route. But so let's copy this one as well, because lazy.
But you're only copying the word GUID?
No, I'm copying the
okay.
the file.
The file. Got it.
So, okay.
So that is a Razor page.
Component.
Yes.
Not a page.
A Razor component.
If you want a way to remember it, think about Razor page and how wrong that is.
Okay. Yeah. So I have this thing every time I hear someone say Razor page, I see the scene, or rather hear the scene from Guardians of the Galaxy when Rocket Raccoon says to the bad guy, "Are your name really Razor?" Well, it's
what's your name?
It's a Razor page, and he's just laughing.
What? It's Taserface.
Taserface, yes, it's Taserface, but it's in my head, it's Razor page.
So we got a list of videos, YouTube videos. So what is one video is going to be called?
YouTube video.
Okay.
Or did I miss anything?
No, that is a valid answer. It's not right, but it's valid.
But don't name it like that if you don't
No,
think
that's fine.
it's like.
That's fine. Let's just. So there are two routes we can go as well that we might want to talk about. So with the episodes, we said, well, episode and then an episode number.
Yeah.
Or a GUID in this case. So what you could do is that you could say episodes and then a number.
Okay.
So
yeah, because episodes is our list.
Yes. And if you want to go into one item, it's episodes and the number of the item. Which route do you want to go?
I don't know. Which one is correct according to you?
Whatever route you want to go.
Yeah, a little bit like that.
I think it's actually nicer to have episodes and then go into a specific item.
It's just nitpicking, really.
Definitely, but it's kind of it works better, I believe, if you're thinking about APIs and stuff like that. You have the collection of episodes, and you're getting one particular item from that.
Well, that sounds reasonable.
So then we need to change that, and we also need to go into episodes and change the URL here. There we go. So that should be all working. And in the YouTube video,
Razor component.
Yeah. We need to say that it's YouTube No, it's just YouTube, right? So the YouTube video is just YouTube.
Yeah. All right. The page is just YouTube.
Yeah. And this one is then going to be just YouTube and the ID followed because we want the same conventions. And we're not saying string like that.
Why?
Because string is default.
Oh, so you only have to say ID. Nice. Nice. Oh, Stacy says +1 for the plural. Awesome. We chose right.
You have chosen wisely. Okay, so this one, we want to name this as well, content service instead. Because reasons.
It's getting content and not episodes.
And I'm going to replace that one. And so what we're doing here is that the content service, so there are two ways we can do this. Probably more, but in this case, I'm getting all the episodes from the content service. Mm-hmm. And then I'm finding that particular item.
Yeah.
I could have created a method here that is called get episode.
Yeah.
And get that item.
Both are right?
Both are right. I probably want to do I don't remember what order I said it in, but I probably want to do get episode here instead. But I'm going to keep it like this for now.
Yep.
So
again, done
videos,
is better than perfect.
Yeah. So we got videos because it's we're going to get all of them. And I'm going to say video. And we're going to get the particular video with the ID here. Mm-hmm. And we're not going to call it
No, those were
EP.
called.
We're going to call it V because
That's
video.
better. Yeah, that's much better.
We also need to rename the specific item, and it's going to be a YouTube video. So what we're doing here is the same thing that we did in the previous ones. We have a YouTube video. We have the question mark that is going to say that this variable can be null. So there's a new feature, I believe it's in C#8, that you can go into a project and you can add nullable true or false. Mm-hmm. So then it's going to say, hey, you can't put null into this variable unless you explicitly say that this variable can be null. Mm. So by doing that or having that kinds of features, that gives us the opportunity to not get all of these null pointer, except
Null reference.
null reference.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I've had that
No,
many times.
exactly.
And I don't understand it.
And if you are using this nullable, that is not going to be possible because the code is going to protect you from that problem.
What? That's awesome.
So for example, here. So here I'm saying video, YouTube video, it can be null, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if I would just write video, let's do it like this: var name equals video dot title. We have a title. No, we don't have a title. We have a. Don't we have a title? Okay, something's wrong. Let's see here. Let's see what I'm doing. So that one is called video. Why is this not picking up? Okay, let's just fix all the problems first. So down here you will see that it's a red squiggly.
Mm-hmm.
So red squigglies are generally bad.
Yep.
So it's saying that it can't convert a YouTube video to a podcast episode.
Yep.
And we're still getting episodes here. So we're not getting any errors here because we're getting it into a collection. That collections are filled with podcasts. So we're gonna rename this to use get YouTube videos instead.
Yeah.
There we go. So now
that can happen when you copy paste.
Yeah, absolutely. And now we have a red squiggly here instead. So what is it saying? Well, it's saying that you can't compare string and GUID. And as you can see here, the ID is a squid. So we need to change that to string because YouTube had strings, right? Okay, so let's see if this solves the red squiggly and if we got a little bit more help here. No, we're not getting any help. So
it's still red squiggly on the videos.
That's probably Visual Studio, don't you think?
Well,
2 components.
So many times have my issues in Visual Studio been helped by just rebooting Visual Studio.
Okay. So the problem is, see here, YouTube video.
Mm-hmm. And you say
YouTube video.
Oh, that's an issue.
So we need to rename one of them. So I'm suggesting we're going to rename this one.
So you shouldn't have asked me for the name.
No. YouTube
vids. Videos from YouTube. Capital Y, capital T videos?
Let's just do it like that. YouTube vid.
Okay.
Ugh.
Yeah, well, what are you supposed to do?
Okay, but that's fine because the URL is going to be nice and okay. So now if we go into video dot content, let's take the content.
Mm-hmm.
Var content equals, there we go. So we should get a let's try and build it. Actually, okay, so this is the problem. So we don't have the nullable turned on.
Oh, you need to turn it on.
So we need to go into the project file and say nullable enable.
That's a good tip.
So what is going to happen now is that you're going to get warnings for all of these problems.
Mm-hmm.
So what we did is that we changed warnings to errors.
Yeah.
So we are saying that all these nullable reference errors, no, warnings, are going to become errors. We want this to fail.
Yeah.
But we're not going to do that because that is going to be way too much work for now. Let's build it again. Let's see what happens. So something where... Okay, so we still got episode here.
Oh, forgot to rename that.
But here, you'll see that we got a
get
green
a green
squiggly. So
squiggly
that's a
line.
warning saying that dereference of a possible null reference.
Okay. So it's just saying, heads up, it could possibly be a null reference here.
So what I can do then is that I can just put an if statement here. So if video is not null, and the squiggly should go away.
Yay.
There we go.
And
So-
I will not get any null reference exceptions that I don't understand.
Yeah, because this code can never happen if the video is null, because we stopped it there.
Where have this been? This is great.
This is one of the things we talked about with Mads Torgensen on
Yeah, but I
stream.
forgot.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it was like, what was it, 3 years ago or something? 10 years ago? I don't know.
No, it wasn't 10 years ago. It wasn't
Million years ago.
It wasn't even 3 years ago.
Don't you think?
No.
I think it was at Ignite.
Oh,
think
on the
it's-
podcast.
Yeah, so I think it's been.
I
at
can
least.
check out our not so great webpage.
Well, I can
Because now
check
I
the new and improved one. So what I'm doing here is I'm replacing the episode with video instead. And we're going to remove the audio controls because this is not audio, it's a video. So we're going to just remove that. We're also going to add a
Which Mads was it?
Torgensen.
Torgensen. Yeah, here, November 2018, 2019.
Spot on, then.
Designing a language, impact of open source, and his move from Aarhus to Seattle. That was an interesting one again. I'm going to post that in the chat.
And the last thing we need is some kind of link that's going to get us to the YouTube page. So I'm going to say that we're going to create a link, we're going to use the video link from YouTube, and we're going to say see the full video, something like that.
Idio.
And we're going to end the one. Oh, it's helping me too much. Okay, so let's see here. It still says that something is wrong. Let's just build it and see if that's still true. It's
That's
not.
also something very interesting. Sometimes you think you have something wrong and you build it and it's all solved.
Build it and they will come.
Is that what I meant?
I don't know. So look, if you take a look and just, oh, it's not going to show now. I think. Okay, let's. If I click YouTube here, just going to pop up, right?
Yeah.
It's fairly fast. So I'm gonna. Oh no, it shouldn't have closed everything. Okay. If I just if I start it again and click YouTube now, you should see loading videos just briefly. Oh, it was super fast.
Yeah, so Blazor is super fast.
So this goes out to YouTube, downloads the RSS. Apparently, it's not a huge
No.
RSS at this point. And it's parsing it and shows all these things.
But we have more videos, so I think that their cap is on 15 or so.
Oh, apparently, I didn't change.
Or you forgot the URL?
Yeah. So in the videos, we want the URL to be, what was it? YouTube, right?
Mm-hmm.
There we go. And I'm gonna pop back to click one of those, and we got planning, designing, and see
Yeah,
the full video. Let's see if it works.
Uh-huh.
Ta-da!
It takes us to YouTube. Awesome. We still have a ton of CSSing to do on this page, though.
Nah. You think? Do we need to? Nah. Okay, so we got 15 minutes. Let's try and see if we can do those two. I was trying to just pick one of them, but I think we can do both. If I cheat a little bit.
I cheat all the time.
Let's go into our content service. I'm gonna open Visual Studio 2019 again. Oh,
Don't do that. I like 2019.
that's old
That's
stuff.
what I work in. It's stable. That was a preview.
You know the expression "stop horsing around." What it actually means is just be stable.
I know. I know.
It's a pun and a real fact.
I know. There's a lot of those.
Okay, come on.
Yeah,
Visual
we are
Studio.
2 on Team 2019. I love it.
To be honest, you should probably not upgrade at this point.
Oh, it's still updating. Yeah. Yeah, it's not the previews. Well, the 2022 it isn't really super ready. Some stuff is still a little bit iffy.
Okay, so what we want to do is we want to add the keywords. So I
right,
found,
the hashtags or
Yeah.
whatever we want to call them.
I happen to find that we're using Libsyn.
Yeah. So Libsyn is where we publish our podcast, and that's a service that we publish our podcast up to here, and they push it out to different, like Spotify and Acast and whatever
Yeah,
other services.
iTunes.
Yeah. So we publish in one place, and they take care of the rest for us.
So
Super handy.
if we go into details, we will find that they have tags or
They
keywords.
do have tags.
And as you mentioned, even YouTube has tags.
They do.
The tags is not included in the RSS, so we might want to go to use the YouTube API at some point.
At some point. But it doesn't matter. I think it's more important actually that we have tags for the episodes, podcast episodes, because on YouTube you can do lists. So instead of using tags, we can use lists, and perhaps lists is something we can get from YouTube. So we don't have to use their API for that either.
That's true.
Hey, we have one for your team and our team. 2019 during the day and 2022 during the evenings. Yeah, that's a good way to go as well.
So I'm gonna add in the where we're getting the episodes. I'm just gonna add keywords, and I'm gonna get those keywords, and it's a comma separated string.
Okay.
So we're just gonna get those as a comma separated string, or we're gonna get it as a string array in the end. So let's see if this works. It should be able to generate property. So let's do that. Let's try that.
Did it?
And go over.
Yeah.
There we go. Get a string. It's a nullable string, so that's fine, I guess. We don't want it to be. I think we could have it as an internal, but let's keep it that way.
So now it's public? Or what happens when you
so
remove that?
internal set is you will only be able to set it from, I believe it's from the constructor.
Oh, okay.
And in this case, we're actually doing it in the constructor. So let's remove that one and set this one to a default. It's helping me again. I like it. So what we're doing, am I doing this wrong? There we go. So instead of us having to check if the keywords is null or not, we're just going to list them because we don't care if it's null. We don't care if it's
If it
zero.
has any or not.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We just want to list them. So we're going to go back to our podcast episode, and let's just list them here. For getting into C# land.
Right, because here we're mixing C# and HTML.
Yeah.
So we put an @ sign. So
for each keyword, N, and it's called episode, I believe, dot keywords. Just gonna print the keyword and have a break afterwards.
So do you need to put an @ sign on each row, or is it because
I
you're
don't
doing
have to
stuff?
put it on each row, but I want the code to be printed on the screen, if you will.
Oh, okay.
So I need to say that, well, I don't want just have this arbitrary variable that I'm not doing anything with. I want to print it. So in that case, the @ sign works a little bit different.
Okay.
So let's do that. Let's pop back to our wonderful, and I'm going to go back to our podcast page, podcasts, and there you actually saw loading podcast. If I go back now and I click podcasts again, nothing is working. There we go. So that's instant.
Yeah.
Because we're caching everything in that
It's
singleton.
in memory.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if
Until
we
we reload the page, then it will go collect them again.
No, if we recycle the page.
Oh, okay.
So if the server dies for some reason, or
Yeah.
or it gets recycled every 1,400 minutes or something like that. Totally arbitrary.
Did sound arbitrary.
So here we have Blazor, bunit, and TDD.
Yeah, we have keywords.
Yep. And test, apparently.
Oh,
So
yeah.
again, we need to do something with this. We need
Yeah.
to show it in a nice...
Just get it up there, and we will come back and fix that.
Okay, so we got keywords. We got...
We do know Jan Skeet. We have actually had him on the podcast as well. Super nice guy.
He helped me. This was a million years ago. We had a competition, me and a friend, where it
right.
was all about solving, in this case, Java problems.
Yeah, it was a competition that went on in the whole world.
Yeah.
Development
The
competition.
prize was to get an opportunity to work for them.
Yeah. So it's basically a job interview.
Yeah.
How good are you at
So,
solving issues?
So me and my friend, we went all into solving these, I think, 5 JavaScript, not JavaScript, problems the fastest possible way.
Yeah.
So we went from
Well, it went from minutes to seconds to...
it was a Flash site. I created applications that solved the problems for me. We ended up removing the Flash from those parts and going directly on the API just to get those seconds down.
And he even bought a server.
No, he thought about it. He never did.
Oh, okay, I thought he did buy a server on the same web hotel?
Yeah, hosting.
Web hosting service as the site itself.
Just to get everything down.
Yeah.
And I ended up beating him with 165,
No,
56. What didn't I?
I don't know, 156.
156 milliseconds.
Yeah.
So I talked to Jan Skeet, and he was nice enough to send me a piece of paper stating that 156 milliseconds is a really long time, and signed it Jan Skeet. So I gave it to my friend.
We framed it.
Yeah, we framed it, and I gave it to my friend for Christmas. And he was like, This is the best and the worst gift I have ever gotten.
That prank went on for ages.
Yep. It
We
still
even
does.
we got Scott Hanselman to record a video for him when he said that 156 milliseconds is a really long time.
It's on YouTube.
But you came in like 8 or 9 or top 10 at least. Yeah, that was fun. We actually his podcast was ages ago. We should talk to him again. It was 2018. Oh, you're using his book. That's awesome.
Nice.
Yeah.
He is. It's kind of fun that he is working for Google. Is it?
He might be doing that.
I think so. And he's putting so much effort into C#.
Yeah.
It's amazing. Okay, so let's talk about a component that we are building.
Which component is this?
This is the Blossom audio.
The Blossom audio component.
So what we're doing here is that we're creating a audio component, just an ordinary HTML5 audio component.
Which you can play music on or MP3s.
So we're bringing in, I'm not going to go through everything, but we're bringing in additional attributes because we want to be able to use the Blossom audio control just the same way as we would do a normal control or an audio HTML5 audio control. So I can add controls, for example, it's an attribute, and this component, the Blossom audio component, is going to pick that up. And we're going to create an ID for that component as well. And we're just going to generate that ID. Where am I doing that? There, I'm doing that. So I'm just creating it's called Blossom Audio Video because we're going to do video as well.
Later on.
Spoilers. And we're
but
creating
good naming.
Thank you.
This time. We don't have to rename it next time.
Yep. And we're getting just a new GUID, creating at the first sign of this component. So we have playback rate.
Yes.
And that's actually the most, that's the reason why I built this, because we need to change playback rate. Come on.
Yeah, and that's why you're building your own component.
Yeah.
Using HTML5.
So
well,
to be able to change playback rate, you need to do JavaScript calls. And we don't want to do that. We don't, or
you don't want to do that.
Well, I'm doing that. That's kind of because I'm doing that so you don't have to.
There you go.
So we're setting up notifications, and so here's where things got a little bit tricky, because I'm not able to check if I can't check the playback rate. I can't start the playback without the file having to that I need the file to be downloaded to be able to do that.
Well, that makes sense.
It does, but it makes things a little bit more troublesome as well. So here I'm saying that I'm going to invoke setup events. So I'm going to say that JavaScript in this case, where that I have down here, is going to run a method called setup events. And it's actually going to add an event listener to the whatever event I say I want to listen to. I did this a little bit. I'm not sure that this is going to hold up the whole way.
No, but for now,
it's
a work in progress, and that's the way code works. Sometimes you need to reiterate over stuff and change things.
I also have these kinds of simplified methods. So I get property name and set property name, where I can supply it with, I want this particular property name or property, and read that value back. We have, is it possible to play? I can, what am I doing here? I can load something. Something load. I can pause. I can play, and all of that good stuff. So if we pop back into the...
And you're doing all of this stuff, so... And Blossom is open source.
Yes.
So when this is done, people can just use your component and they don't have to do all that JavaScript and extra code.
Exactly.
Yeah. I
So-
love components.
So here I have a JS invocable. I'm not going to go into depth with this either, but what is happening is that I'm giving JavaScript an opportunity to call back to .NET code. So I'm saying, hey, I want to listen to these kinds of notifications. It's going to get those notifications. When it gets those notifications, those notifications or events gets triggered, it's going to call back to my code here. So in this case, it's going to check, well, the event type is duration changed. So when duration changed, so when we have some kind of file that we can work with, I'm going to set the current time. So this is an opportunity that we haven't implemented that all the way though, but we could link to a podcast episode and we can say, we want to link to this particular moment in that podcast.
Yeah.
And I had
Kind of like what you can do with YouTube. You can tag up, then send the video, watch this 2 minutes in, and you don't have to watch the 2 first minutes to
Exactly.
see it. Yeah, that's awesome.
So in this case, it's just when the duration changed. So we have a file, we can use that. We are getting we are setting the current time. So whatever the current time currently is, and the default, if we take a look at that, is 0. So we're going to start
from
at
the
0.
beginning.
If I don't say anything, it's going to start at 0. The playback rate is going to be 1.
Yeah.
If I don't say anything, I can specify something. I can specify the playback rate in the component itself if I want to.
I have an awesome question for you. How can you even put a JS script in a C# file?
So I'm not putting the JavaScript file in the C# file. I'm putting it in the C# project. So the JavaScript file is just an ordinary JavaScript file. And I'm creating interrupts that call the JavaScript from C#, which is a Blazor function. This is pretty nice.
Well, it's kind of cool that you can mix all of that. And we saw in the Razor components that you can even mix HTML and C# and all of that. I find that very cool.
And the other thing that this component does is it's rendered just an HTML audio. It also has child content. So child content is something that we can grab from whatever is between the tags, in this case Blossom audio tags, and just put them right there. We're going to render it right there. So if you take a look at episode, I believe.
Yeah, because in episode we had that play control, right?
Yeah. So this is the default behavior. Audio got controls. So controls is going to show us the controls. If we don't have that, it's just going to be invisible.
And
So
that's also where you don't want to have an invisible player that starts to play the music.
I'm not sure it actually can play.
I hope not.
It's possible that
You could
it
probably,
needs
but
some
don't.
kind of user interaction, but I'm not sure.
I hope so.
So
I really hope so.
Inside of the audio component, we have the source. We're saying that the MP3 files that we get from our RSS is going to play, and it's going to be of type MP3. So I can take this code, just the ordinary control, and I can say Blossom audio. Should be able to do that.
Will it help you?
Will it blend? I need to also include the namespace. So I'm saying Blossom audio. I'm going to show the controls. I'm going to have the link here, right in there. And if I just go back to our page, it should show 2 of them. Okay, it's not saved. So pro tip, you need to save.
Before you run it.
There we go. So now we have 2 of them and an exception.
Ooh, what's the
I should
exception?
have stopped, shouldn't I? Okay, so what is going on here? Fail to
fetch.
dynamically import the module. I've done something with the Blossom video thingy.
Well,
On
that's good.
render.
I always say that I like to see when developers
Fail
solve
is
the
the
issue.
word fail.
Actually, yeah, because then you can learn how do you find out what's going on. Because for me, in my little bubble, I think that everyone codes perfectly. So every time I see someone who actually makes an oopsie or fix it, I want to know how they fix it so I know how to Google for that.
So you're saying that I need to fix it. Is that
I'm
what you're
saying
saying?
you need to fix it or at least try to fix it.
Okay, so the problem is that the JavaScript file can't find the JavaScript file, I'm guessing.
Okay.
So let's see here. We got Blossom audio video. So somewhere here we have a URL to our project. Let's see if I can find it.
Come on, URL.
Where are you?
Can't you just search in the file?
I could do that, but that wouldn't be any fun.
Wouldn't it though?
Here it is. So I'm importing a JavaScript module, and there we go. So here I'm saying dot Blossom audio video.
/ Blossom audio video.
Why isn't this working? Where is this? Okay, right. So the JavaScript files is in the component library, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the component library is running. No, I should take it the other way around. The coding after work project is running the component library.
Yeah.
So it won't be able to find the Blossom audio / Blossom audio. Where's that? It's in the component library. Where's the component library? I have no idea.
So it's basically the wrong address.
It's a wrong address. That's a short one.
Yeah.
So what we want to do?
You could just have said that.
So what we want to do is we need to say content. So we're saying that whatever I'm getting right now, I'm getting it from another namespace or another assembly.
Mm-hmm.
And the assembly name is coding after work.
That's why
Dot.
you're copy pasting a lot.
Com-
I'm not better.
And it's in the www root folder, and everything that is in that folder is automatically going to be available from just the assembly name / You don't have to write www root. So I'm not entirely sure if I need to have a / there or not.
Let's try it.
Let's reload the page and see what happens. It's still failing.
Did you save? You didn't?
Yes, I did.
Yes, you did.
What's that?
I thought it was a star, but it was the pin icon. It was a little bit.
Failing. No, it's not.
No,
failing.
it's not
There we
failing.
go.
There we go. So you needed to set
/
before
in
that
front.
as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
So now we have 2 of these, and that's fine, I guess. It's rendering just an HTML audio controller, nothing fancy.
So the left one is HTML5, the regular one, and the right one is Blossom one using the same things. Yeah.
I believe that's correct. So I'm going to cheat a little bit more here. I'm going to just go into our episode here.
What are we doing now?
Now we are grabbing some code from my other project. So I don't have to type because apparently...
because we already saw how that goes. I'm not better though, but I just like
So I'm just going to add a couple of lines, and I'm going to go through them in just a second. Add those. Am I going to add those as well? Are we going to do that? Fine, we do that. If we copy and pasting, we can do it all. We can do it all.
We can.
We have to give these people audio. Okay, and
Was that your Arnold voice?
I tried. Is that your Arnold voice?
I think it was.
You should be able to tell.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm gonna add one more thing here. I'm gonna steal this one as well.
Then I want to know what you're doing.
I will tell you.
Awesome.
Okay. So, okay, I need one more.
You liar!
I'm sorry. I need one more thing. I'm going to replace the Blossom audio with
the regular HTML copied
Yeah.
file. Yeah.
with one I have prepared earlier. So since I'm building the Blossom audio component, I'm using a copy of this project actually to try it out. So that's why I had these kind of
Yeah, because Blossom control is something you have built outside of the stream before we even start streaming.
yeah. So I have a Blossom Blossom audio component. I'm saying that I want to show the controls.
Yeah.
So here's where the additional components or additional attributes comes in. So it's just going to take that and put that into the other control.
And the at is, again, we're going back to code.
Which one? This one?
Yeah.
So this one is a little bit special because it should just be enough to say ref in this case. But ref is a special kind of function. So what I'm doing here is that I'm saying that down here I have a Blossom audio component. So I'm saying I'm on a Blossom audio component. It's going to be called Blossom audio. So I'm saying that this Blossom audio is going to be a reference of the other one.
The other one, yes.
So I will be able to call things on the instance Blossom audio to get all of that, things.
It just gets a little bit complicated to say all of that stuff because it's all named the same.
Yes.
But you could theoretically name it differently.
I could.
And still reference the Blossom audio.
This is just a name.
So let's say if we are doing the Blossom video control, you could still reference Blossom audio or audio video, but be called. So you rename the green letters, right?
Oh, this one.
Yeah.
So this one is the component name. So in our case, it would probably be Blossom video. I'm guessing.
Yeah.
For that one. And we're supplying the current time here as well.
And that's what time it is?
It is
Really?
what time we want to be, where in the
player.
MP3 file we want to listen to. So the reason why it's called current time, because that doesn't make sense.
No, it doesn't. It sounds like, what time is it?
So that is the naming of the component, the JavaScript call. It's current time.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to keep that terminology even when I'm building a new component.
So it's easier to read afterwards and know what we actually
Exactly. If you have no experience in this component at all, you should be able to use your experience from the audio control or the HTML audio control.
That makes sense.
So I'm saying time. So time, where does time come from? So it comes from here. So I have another route so episodes and the grid followed by the time as an int. So this page is going, or this component is going to get hit if I don't supply it, or if I supply it. If I don't supply it, it's going to get the default value, which is 0.
Right. So it starts from the beginning.
Start from the beginning. I also have a playback rate.
Yeah.
That is also the name in JavaScript, so I'm keeping that there as well.
And that is one of my favorites. And yours as well.
So I'm saying that it's 1. The default is 1, so that's fine. And I have a method here, so it says set playback rate. I'm going to say decimal. So this is actually a little bit misnamed, I think. Because I'm not setting the playback rate, I'm setting the difference of the playback rate. So I'm saying that rate, taking the playback rate and I'm adding the rate. So if
you
it's
can
minus,
add like half 0.2.
yes,
Yeah. So it
or
becomes
minus
1.
0.2.
Yeah. So if I add 0.2, it's 1.2 speed. Because it's adds on top
Yes.
of. Yeah.
And I'm also checking, because when I set the playback rate in the Blossom audio component, it's also calling the audio control and saying, okay, what playback rate are we using right now? So it's making sure that the one I set, or it's not comparing, but it's making sure that I set something and it's actually the same that comes back. So that's why I'm saying Blossom Audio. I'm setting our playback rate
Yeah.
variable to the same one I have in the component.
Yeah.
That way I will make sure that they are in sync. And there are some, I believe it's like 0.2 is the lowest one possible. So it can't go lower than that. And that makes...
And you sound really, really funny when you do that.
We do.
Well, you tested with my voice.
So we make sure that we are using the JavaScript or the HTML component with the JavaScript to making sure that it definitely doesn't go under and it doesn't go over a particular threshold.
Yeah.
And it's the JavaScript that tells us that threshold.
Yeah.
We're not assuming it's 0.2 or something like that. Okay, so then we have button.
Yeah.
And that button says minus 0.1 m. So m is decimal for some reason. Decimal, I don't know.
Metric.
Metric, yeah. So I'm saying that if I press this button, it's going to go down 0.1. Oh, it went well. Went away. And in this case, it's going to up 1.
Yeah.
Point,
So increase and decrease
1. Yeah.
buttons, which we can see from the plus and minus.
Yes. And it's also going to show the playback rate as playback rate and x, as in how many times. So let's see if our friendly, look at that. We have buttons.
Right. We have tiny little buttons down there, but it's still, can you enlarge that? Thank you. Well, then you need to scroll because you're in the way. Other way. There we go. We get plus and minus.
So I thought about doing a control where Blossom API or Blossom components are going to supply you with plus and minus buttons, and I don't know what kind of different buttons.
Maybe fixed numbers like YouTube has. YouTube has a drop-down list with 1, 1.25, 1.5, and so on.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of discussion we can have about that, because do we want just plus and minus? Because if it's 0.1 step, that means if you are, in my experience, people with issues with their site, they tend to use different tools for reading on screen, and they're also usually, or again, in my experience, very fast listeners. And I also know that you speed read when you can hear it on an extreme amount of speed. I hear bloop, 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 but you hear the actual words. So if we assume that someone is comfortable with listening to sound in 4 times the speed, that would be a lot of clicks,
Yeah.
and that's not friendly UI.
Yeah. But knowing all of these things, I decided that we're not going to supply with those buttons. We're going to supply the opportunity to not have to call JavaScript because the component's going to do that for you.
Mm-hmm.
So you would need to add these kinds of buttons yourself. You can...
Yeah, if you want to use the component that is not on our page.
Right. And you can remove the controls here, for example, and it's going to be invisible. And you can add all the UI that you want to add, and have all of those methods accessible, like play, pause,
Plus and minus.
plus and minus.
Maybe setting a fixed set of drop-down.
Yeah, so there's a lot of things going on that you can do. And I hope this
And then
works.
you just pick the ones you want and show them.
Yes.
Yeah.
You need to implement them yourself. You have the methods for it.
That's good.
So if I change here and I say 120, for example, so I'm adding a number, in this case the time, to the URL. Press enter. You will see that we are starting 2 minutes in.
Because that's 120 seconds.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So we have the opportunity right now, out of the box, mostly out of the box, to set a specific time where we want to listen to this episode. We can change the speed. Now,
And that is also great because you can actually take that URL and send to your friend. Listen to this funny joke or this really important thing that someone said.
So if I play this, I can change the speed. I believe you hear the sound from the MP3 as well. So
because we can't.
We can't hear it.
Yeah.
But,
take it down. Take it down because that was the most horrible thing I've ever heard. When I spoke in slow motion. No sound. There's no sound. Okay.
That's fine.
Maybe that's good because I don't sound pretty.
It should have sound. Why doesn't that sound? Okay, we're not going to do. So, basically, think about Chip and Dale. That's how Jessica sounds there.
Well, now, at 2.4. No, that's how you listen to podcasts and read books. But what I sounded like was, I don't know.
Okay, so let's go back to...
No, there's some issue with the sound. Okay.
I wasn't sure.
No, it's probably... We're going from your computer to another computer out through OBS into to StreamYard, and probably one of them is muted.
You just have to believe me. This works.
It does. And I sound funny.
So let's go into our sprint and take a look at... We're going to do... Let's see here.
Yeah, so this is our backlog. And this is our current sprint.
Give me some extra word.
What are we looking for?
Should be able to add columns. And I almost...
View options?
Filter view ups. So
No?
that's not the one. Is it here? Column options. There we go. So we're going to add a column. We're going to add the ID. Is it called that? Maybe I should just use the drop down. ID. It's called ID. Great. So now we can just take a look at 325. So we're going to go back in here.
All right. So that's our work item number. The number the work item was assigned.
Yes. So 325, right? Show YouTube. We've done that.
Yeah. So now you're going to put this on Git. You're not. You don't call it put, do you?
Push.
Push. Git and I aren't friends. We're not friends.
347. No, Didn't I get any help this time? 3, 4, 7. We added tags.
We
Okay,
did add
great.
tags.
And we did 3, 4, 8, I believe.
Added a menu. Well, yeah,
It is menu.
It is a menu. It's a bare minimum.
And
I need
we
to
added
work
it.
on that. I need to work on that. We also need to. We could actually do that. We could, if you go back to. Did you commit?
Yeah.
Awesome. Can we go back to the backlog and add
Push that as well. No.
push failed?
No.
Why did the push fail?
Okay, I think it's okay. Pull and push. So I did a couple of changes in the deployment.
Oh, okay.
And that's checked in as well. So it's telling me, hey, you don't have the latest version. I forgot about that. So okay. Great. So backlog.
Yeah, but not in Sprint 4.
Backlog. The backlog.
The real backlog, the product backlog. We need to add. We need to style the menu. We had that, right? We also need to style the new pages, the content pages.
Do you want that as one item, or do you want podcast and?
I think we could do it as one item because I think we could use the same style on those because it's showing content in a similar way. So I
it's
think
basically the same, right?
Yeah. But I need to we could do that too. We need to revisit the CSS we already have because.
But isn't that part of styling the content pages?
Yeah, it could be. It could be because we need to revise some of the naming conventions. We have that because we have an episode style that we are using on the videos, and that's not the correct naming for it.
Anything else?
Well, we need to. We added a menu. There's still add a menu on the backlog.
Yes, I don't know why. They're still new. Why are they new?
I don't know.
Have I totally failed when I? But it did. I thought we.
Maybe we had a duplicate.
Finished. Didn't we do that?
Maybe we had a duplicate or something.
Let's go into a old sprint. Let's go into number 2 here. They're all done.
Yeah, so maybe you need to mark them.
Okay, these are all done.
Yeah, but that's a previous sprint. Did you mark them as done in this sprint?
They should be marked as resolved for this sprint when everything is done.
But I don't think you marked them as done.
No, but when I'm checking in and adding the numbers, it should mark them as resolved.
Oh, okay.
No, because that is part of the pull. Okay, that's part of the pull request, and we're not doing that.
Okay.
Okay. So let's. So this one is in the wrong place.
Why does it assume we want to add when we are in the product backlog? It shouldn't assume that we're adding it to the current sprint.
So we're gonna do a, where is it? Edit. I'm gonna set the state to.
Oh, you can do this?
Wait for it. Done.
Awesome. Not that it was such a bad thing pressing done in 3 of them, but still.
Let's see if this. Oh, those one was done.
Yeah, I think all the others are done because we have marked.
Okay, it was only.
Yeah, I think we have
the first
marked
one as well.
Well, I marked them myself.
Yeah. Okay, so the backlog should look a little bit better now.
There we go.
Yep.
And we're not upgrading to .NET 6 until it's a little bit more stable.
We're waiting for preview 7.
Yeah.
7. That's what we're looking for.
Yeah. So next time, let's style some content pages, maybe bring in some more
Not gonna go do SEO.
Not at the first time, no, or
Let's do
not
that.
anytime soon. And we can also maybe bring in some of the other content pages, like Meetup. Because we do Meetup sometimes when we have guests on. Then we put it on our Meetup group as well, which we have a bunch of current members.
I'm thinking the index page should be like, oh, we have a meetup soon, we have a stream soon,
we should have a schedule page.
Yes.
With a consolidated schedule. When is the next podcast or stream or
right one.
meetup?
It's like that. No?
No, you were on the... I think, yeah.
Page.
Because that's a really good idea.
Schedule page.
Where can you see us next, or where can we? What content is up next?
And we should have an about page.
Yeah.
Anything else? No.
Well, we need to keep adding to this when we think of stuff, I think. Yeah. So let's do that. We have half a plan for next time.
Maybe we can even do an about page. At least just create it.
Yeah, like the start page.
Yeah.
Just what we can just copy whatever content we have on the current page. No, it's outdated. We shouldn't. Awesome. So next week,
More Blazor.
more Blazor,
More code.
more code,
More CSS.
more CSS.
Right. Thank you
Awesome.
all for joining us.
Yeah, thank you. It's been awesome.
Bye.